course. Your colleague has been on this course probably 2 years ago, 18 months?
3 years
ago. Was it 3 years ago?
Well, the site was written in 2005.
Right, well, I recognise I wrote some of the buttons, but looking at it, so that would date it, wouldn't it? So welcome aboard. It's been a real pleasure having you on board and having you as part of the course. And much like Alan, I think you've contributed a lot, and I hope you've still got a lot to contribute. Take us through where you were at the start of this course. It's quite an interesting one. You've got an old website. You're coming on board fairly fresh to the business and the project.
Perhaps
what have you noticed?
Well, a bit of background about myself as well, really, Johnny, because I came into this kind of quite hungry for knowledge, really. I'd previously kind of worked in the corporate world and been a business manager, been a business development manager, and a national sales manager. I'd managed a marketing budget, and last year, for example, I was faced with a national marketing budget and getting a company's web ranking in Google up. Okay, and we were looking for the short-term fixes, pay-per-click. So a lot of the issues that we've covered and we're going to discuss here and in this course have been literally, revelations, really, right. And very much relevant to what I've kind of personally experienced in my professional life.
Cool.
So coming in and working with my friend and colleague Dennis, and I've got to be very careful what I say here because, of course,
I suspect he might see the video.
He will be watching this in about an hour after you put it on the site, I'm quite sure. So I can't say anything too derogatory. But at the end of the day, he's run a successful business and been very much part of the Access community really since it was created, and. The reason that I'm here is that I've joined to work with him, but effectively work in a separate business channel that's produced inquiries from the website that he's never really followed. And Dennis recruits creative professionals in the East Midlands, and on the back of that, really, marketing and PR has always sat there, and he's never really done anything with it. So I've really kind of come in to sit alongside him, create my own company, but really to kind of mop up those marketing and PR opportunities that exist within the business.
Right, interesting. Right, so you've obviously joined fairly recently. What did you find? What was your sort of first take on this website? And as you entered this course, what started to become clearer in your mind about where you needed to go?
Well, again, the first thing that I enjoyed working with Dennis was he says, I've got you booked on the course, we need to do the website. I think he was very, very conscious of the fact that he's got a website that at the moment looks very, and to use the old terminology, very Web 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not least my buttons.
Your buttons, Johnny, but also just very kind of rich in text, okay, and in content, but not much of a visual experience, really, and even down to the images, they don't really do anything, and they don't really say very much to the people that are actually visiting the site. But the pluses have been that the site itself has worked extremely well for Dennis over the last 3 years. Putting the keywords in that seem to matter for him have produced a front page Google ranking.
So it's page one for a key phrase of
advertising. Well, sorry, graphic designers, creative people, but graphic designers in Nottingham,
right.
Creative personnel. He's consistently got a front page ranking.
And 100 uniques a day.
Yeah, well, not quite that. About 100, between 160 and 200 a week is what we average. The interesting thing is just without anything being done to it, and bearing in mind that my side of it is marketing, which we'll kind of come on to here.
Yeah.
If you Google marketing jobs in Nottingham this morning, this site is 7th on the front page of Google.
Right.
We have one direct competitor who has literally lifted this site and this body of this copy text. Okay, they are our only.
Who've benchmarked you?
Yeah, who are our only serious competitor offering the same quality of service that we offer. Okay,
right.
And they are 9th this morning. Okay,
right.
With marketing jobs. So the whole purpose of what we want to do and what I've learned in the course here is really about adding value to the existing site and trying not to compromise some of the great work that's already been done by you, Dennis, and by yourself as well in actually writing that text so long ago.
It's an interesting one because there could be two approaches to this. One is, we discussed this before, didn't we? One is incremental change, where Google isn't looking for the thing to change too profoundly to upset the apple cart. So you'd be making 10-15% changes a month, and sort of over a period of time incrementally improving the thing. The other thing is to say, just draw a line under it and go, well, actually, look, page 1 under these sort of very regional key phrases is easily achievable. Let's start again from scratch, create a completely new ground-up experience that we might well go backwards in the search engines to come further forward, and come further forward under a sort of a series of new key phrases. And if it was me and the business wasn't week to week cash flow or reliant on that website producing those 150 a week unique visitors, I'd be looking at something ground up on this, because I think it's done a job to a certain point, and rather than there being anything particularly strong about the website now, I think it's just, you should take it as, personally, it would be, it's encouraging that it's achievable. Well, let's just take the good points of this and apply them to a new experience, but to kind of take it forward on a big step change. Engage much more in some of the kind of more, cleverer, richer media, Web 2 stuff that I'm sure we're going to sort of come on to in a minute. So where's your feeling? Is it incremental,
I think
or is it a big change?
I think there's two steps, really. Keeping it simple, I think there's two steps. I think there's one, the Web 2, the rich media formats that I've been learning about and we've been discussing, which are definitely going to be done, and are going to go into the revamped skin of the site, which we've got a demonstration of here. And there's some absolutely invaluable lessons that I've learned from this course here, which will help me articulate in my discussion with the web designer and with Dennis what we need to do and why we need to do it.
Okay, so what sort of stuff? What have you taken on board? What are you applying? What is going to make the difference between what's happening here and a new kind of engagement here, I suppose?
Well, there's the visual aspect and there's the text aspect, and you were just touching on that there, really, Johnny, was that at the moment they say this is just a mock-up, and we've got to look very carefully at the text. We want to add an additional a page, take a couple of pages out, but add a page for one existing page for creative people to look at and prospective employers, and two for marketing and professional people to look at.
Right.
So we need to play around with the text to put that additional page in and try and keep it within this Google sort of 15% compromise limit that we're kind of very much aware of. So we're looking at that, but as we've been learning about on the course, you've been teaching us about things like siloing and things like that. So really that is the kind of the next stage that you're kind of alluding to in your question there. And I mentioned earlier on that we were 7th this morning when you searched for marketing jobs in Nottingham. The obvious question is, well, who are in the 6 above you?
Yeah.
And the industry, the recruitment industry, is dominated by directory-based websites that just literally have no personal contact in them whatsoever, and just masses and masses of text and content.
Right.
And that is not really where we want to go. And I'd love to be enlightened as to how we can actually perhaps improve that and improve the search ranking. But what we want to do, and I think the message that I very much want to get across from here, is how we appeal not just to candidates but to prospective employers. So, for example, employers that are out there in the East Midlands at the moment that are looking to recruit marketing or creative professionals and are Googling for that, may pick us up. They'll recognise the directories and just skim over them.
Yeah,
but
there's a proper one.
Experience. Yeah, it's the landing experience and how it looks and how it feels is what I've learned from this course, and what we're going to try and put into practice.
Right. To me, it's about content. I think this is the change that has to happen between this and this. Yeah. This is predominantly, a kind of notice board of the vacancies that you've got. If you want that kind of that business to land and go, yeah, these are my kind of people, there needs to be case studies, this dialogue going on across the site, placed delegates coming back and just updating you via the site how things are going, businesses talking about what kind of candidates they're looking for. That would be both interesting to prospective candidates and to other businesses as well.